Open your eyes. Hell is empty. All the devil's here.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Queen of Horror. In today's video, I wanted to talk to you guys about some more of these paranormal things that are happening to me, plus about some things that happened as a kid, as I recently found my old video that I took when I was very, very young, and yeah, I caught a ghost on that video, or I caught something on that video. I don't know what I caught, but I will upload that towards the end of the video. I want to talk to you guys a bit about that, those cracks that appeared in my backyard. I have some more big news about the cracks. We haven't been able to dig it up because obviously if anything was buried down there, it would be very, very far down and very difficult to dig back up again. So we haven't really dug into it as of yet. I'm not sure if we will or not, but it is looking more and more like a coffin. So before, I don't know if you guys have seen the video, but I found a crack that looked like the bottom of a coffin. It was square shaped, looked like the bottom of a coffin, and then it went out. So my idea of it was that the bottom of something, some sort of box underneath, had fallen, and it had made the bottom sort of fall, but then it split outways because the top was still stable, you know, so the whole thing hadn't dropped yet.
The hole right here. So you can see it down in there. I don't know if it's gonna get it on camera. Do it anywhere else. Everywhere else is very, very hard. It's all around here.
But I was looking the wrong way. We recently had some more heavy rain. The crack moved, but it didn't move the way that I thought it was going. It moved the opposite direction, but it cracked in the exact same way this other cracked. And now what it looks like is this entire box, whatever is under there, has dropped, and the entire ground has shifted in and cracked through the middle and then around the sides. So it really, really looks like there may be something big down there, and something human-sized. It has literally become the size of a human. And on my video where I communicated with the spirits, I got a reply from one of the spirits saying that whoever was in there was called Mia. We are actually in a really calm period at the moment, so it's really weird. We have like crazy things happen like non-stop, and then all of a sudden it'll just stop for a while and everything will be absolutely quiet until the next thing happens, and then it will just go. Like, I don't even know why, but it's like an on and off thing. Sometimes it's really bad and sometimes it's really good, and at the moment it's really good. We haven't really had much activity at all. But I really wanted to include this ghost video that I caught because, I mean, it's really, really cool that I actually caught something when I was a kid. It is from a very long time ago. I'll probably insert timestamps because I need to go back and check what year it is of how old I would have been then. But you guys can actually go and find this channel yourself to see what year I posted it. I'm not making this up. The channel is Angel Buddy Princess. These were my animals at the time. So you can go back and check this video for yourself. I am legit. So when I was younger, I used to hear calling out in the middle of the night in my lounge room. And every single time I'd hear it, I used to anyway. I used to go out and check and no one would be there. And I just have this sense of just terror and dread. Like I was being called out there to sort of take me away from my bedroom, from my safe place. And I was in the middle of the lounge room, no lights on, no one out there, with whatever just called me out there. Like there was one time that I thought the TV was on because I could hear talking in the lounge room, and I started to get scared, so I thought I'd go out and sit with my mum. And I got out there and my mum wasn't out there and the TV wasn't on, and there was no reason for me to hear talking in the lounge room. So I absolutely flipped out and ran back into bed. I stopped going out there though after I realised that this was all a trick to get me out there. And this is one of the reasons why I set up the camera out there and caught whatever this is. I used to also hear pots and pans sort of like smashing together out there, like someone was like throwing things out of the cupboards. And I wanted to talk to you guys about one time. I haven't actually talked about it on my channel. I've talked about how when I was a kid, I saw a little girl in my bedroom. It was one of the scariest things that I ever saw as a kid because she was so terrifying. And after I saw her, I decided to sleep in my own room because I didn't want to sleep in my mum's room ever again. Because that's where I saw her. So I went back into my own room, and the next morning I woke up in my mum's bed. I thought my mum had grabbed me and took me in there, and I was really, really angry at her because I didn't want to sleep in there anymore. I made that decision and I wanted to sleep in my own room, so I was incredibly angry. And then she told me that I had personally gotten out of bed, walked up to her bed and said, "Mum, can I sleep with you?" Now I have no recollection of doing that at all, and that's terrifying. It really scared the absolute crap out of me because whatever was in there was trying to get me back. And at the moment, I believe that what I was seeing was demonic and still is more than ever. The more I think about it, the more I believe it. So I wanted to go through and tell you guys about a fair few things that I have sort of figured out in the past few days. So I was the youngest of my family. And first thing I ever saw was hands coming out of the walls on the roof. And these were too many to be a spirit, obviously. Which was my first indicator that this was something demonic. And I don't know, at that point, obviously, I wasn't thinking demonic, I was thinking these were spirits. And they kept coming back, but they were really horrifying. They were never normal spirits. And like my kids at the moment, like I've said, they've seen a fair few spirits in this house. But whenever they see this one thing, they call it a monster. And they wake up screaming. When with all the other spirits, they will even talk to the spirits. They will say, "Oh, there was this woman," or "there was a person here," or whatever. But whenever this certain thing comes along, they call it a monster. And they scream. They scream like they're absolutely terrified of this thing. I used to wake up to the whole room and like everyone around me moving extremely fast. And demons can manipulate speed and time to make you more vulnerable. I used to wake up to someone screaming numbers in my ears, well, a whole bunch of people screaming numbers in my ears. And I believe that was another tactic to wear me down too. And the fact that I had actually done things I was unaware of, and I have no idea how many times this happened because I've been told a few times that I have wandered out of my bed. So there was that one time I asked to go to sleep with my mum. There was one time my sister came and knocked on the window and said that I was just sitting in my bed. I was sitting in my bed and I don't remember that at all. I remember waking up, turning around, looking out the window and going to get my mum to my sister inside. But she says she looked through the window and I was sitting there staring at the floor like for about 10 minutes. So I was the youngest of my family. My mum was the youngest of her family. My mum says she woke up to terrifying things too. She said that one night she woke up and a skeleton was beside her bed. Like, she woke up to the heavy breathing on her and the skeleton was beside her bed. And I think she said that it like, after she noticed it, like shot back under her bed. My sister used to see things, but that slowly faded away and I became the one that more often saw things. And then I grew up and it faded away. And then my oldest son, he started to see things. And this started at around the exact same time every other one of my kids started seeing things. My oldest started seeing things around 16 months. I remember I used to go into his room in the middle of the night and he'd be laughing or he'd be talking to something. I remember this one time that really, absolutely terrified me. It was this time I walked into his room and he was laughing about something. And I was asking what he was laughing about, trying to figure out what was so funny, and then I realized that he wasn't even looking at me, and that he was looking just above my head on the roof, where my youngest son now says this monster is. And for ages he used to scream and point at his roof when he was a toddler, saying there was scary on the roof, and he would literally point and follow this thing around the roof, wherever this thing was going. And there was nothing on the roof. We couldn't see anything on the roof. And then when my daughter hit 16 months, or around that time, she woke up screaming Daru, which I've told this story before. And after a week, her speech became more clear and Daru turned into scary. So she was trying to tell us that a scary was in her room the entire time and we had no idea what she was talking about. And so she started waking up screaming non-stop, saying there was a monster, saying there was a scary. And then my youngest hit 16 months, and that is when he woke up screaming. And I remember the first night he woke up screaming, he'd wake up crying, obviously. But this first night he woke up, it was like a tremble in his voice. He was trembling as he was screaming, and that's when I realized he was absolutely terrified. So this thing is latching on to the youngest of my family, and it has been going on since my mum was a kid. I don't know how long it's been going on. I don't know if something's attached to all of us. It just keeps moving up the line. But it seems to like the youngest. Because my oldest don't see those anymore. This monster thing anymore, they don't see it anymore. They see the spirits inside of our house, but that's it. It's always the youngest that sees the monster thing. And that is the biggest indicator that something demonic is happening. Not to mention the knocks that come in threes that happen inside of our house, the foul smells we smell sometimes for no apparent reason. It all leads to something demonic. Okay, so after I filmed my last video, I was talking about how I hadn't seen or heard anything for a while. Well, that changed. Last night, I don't know what caused it to change. Maybe it was me talking about everything, but it did change. And now I'm sort of getting ready for a lot of things to happen, because usually everything happens at the same time. First thing we noticed about last night was when we sat down to watch a movie, and my partner started pointing to the corner of the room, and I had no idea what he was pointing at. He was just sitting there just pointing at something, and I was looking over there trying to figure out what he was looking at. And then I realized the nappies, so we had a nappy bag that was standing upright. It had been standing upright since we changed my son's butt last, which was 2 hours beforehand. All of a sudden, while we were watching TV, the bag started to fall. And so it was standing upright, and it just started going over and leaning down further and further and further, and that's when my partner started pointing at it, and it went all the way down to the floor. So that happened. That was pretty weird. And a little bit after that, we heard, it sounded like some sort of piece of cutlery or something fell onto the floor in the laundry on its own. Then, in the middle of the night last night, my son woke up, once again, screaming. and he said that there was a ghost outside of his window. So we brought him into our bed to sleep for last night because he was so scared of this ghost that he said was outside his window, and this had all happened in one night. So obviously we can tell when we're going to have a big line of things that happen. Maybe me talking about it triggered it to start again. Hey guys, forgive the absolute dead look I have right now. It is quite late at night. I just finished editing the ghost video, me talking about this stuff, and I didn't want to finish the edit until I had talked to you guys more on what's happened, because it has been non-stop for the past few nights. The night of filming the previous section, my partner came home late from work, and it was very late, so I was on my own pretty much all night. And the weird part about it is I wasn't really scared, so there was no real point, like there was no reason for me to be hallucinating or imagining things because I wasn't really scared. So at the start of the night, I had just got all the kids to bed and I was cleaning up after dinner, and I put something down on the bench, on the kitchen bench, and as I put it down, the plug for my kitchen sink jumped into the air and then dropped back down. And here I am thinking that I maybe put it down too hard, so I picked it up and put it down again, and it didn't jump, it didn't even move actually. So here I am banging on the kitchen bench, and this plug is not moving. So I was not the cause for that plug's movement, which was extremely weird to begin with. Then I went to go watch a TV show. So I walked into my lounge room, and as I entered my lounge room, in the corner of my eye, I saw a figure in the hallway. And this was very distinct too, because there were like legs and there was like the in-between part which was see-through. Like there was no section in the middle of the legs, so it was a very distinct figure in my hallway. When I actually looked towards it, there was nothing there. And then so I shrugged that off, I went and sat down and watched my show. I was like a fair bit into my show, so I was completely like zoned in. I was oblivious to anything around me until my eye caught on to these legs standing behind me. And it was the same legs from before. I'm pretty sure it's the same figure I saw in my doorway when it made me sick, because it was completely black. There was nothing, no color, no like anything to identify it. And so I turned around and no one was behind me. So, okay. I honestly, it didn't really faze me that much. Those things don't really very much anymore. I'm pretty used to it, so I don't really mind. And then I saw what I think has been on my roof, and what my kids have been seeing on the roof. Because I started watching my show again. I got a fair bit into it again. I was zoned into the show, and then my eyes caught on to this thing on the roof. And what it looked like was someone with their legs up beside them and their hands in the middle, like they're squatting, but on the roof. And so I turned to look at it and it wasn't there anymore. But it definitely looked like that. And so I think that was really it for that night. Nothing major happened, but a lot to like sort of let me know that things are happening now and frequently. Last night something happened though, and it did quite freak me out, but I sort of tried to calm myself down. It wasn't anything major, because we had a full-on night last night. Like, I spent it editing, and then my partner spent it like playing a game, and then we like watched a movie together. Like, we had a full-on night, and my dad stayed over, so it was like full-on. So I didn't really have much time to see anything or experience anything. But when we finally went to bed, I woke up in the middle of the night. I woke up a lot last night. I don't really know why. I just wasn't having a good sleep. And at one of the points I woke up, I saw something white like quickly move towards my bed. And obviously it went out of view. And so I moved my head up further just to, make sure. It tripped me out. And then it moved a bit further, and it looked like I saw it again move closer towards the bed. And so I moved again, and it looked like it did it again. And that was when I was freaking out, but I told myself just to stop. Like, there is no way something is down there. So I just laid myself back down. And I did not look. I resisted the urge to look. But I swear, like, lying there with my eyes closed thinking, am I going to open my eyes and something's going to be like at the edge of my bed looking at me? That is like, oh my god, that is my worst fear. Like, to see something from a distance, okay, but when it comes up right up close to you, that, oh, that's unnerving. And I was terrified that I was going to see that, but luckily I didn't. So I don't know what that was. Maybe I was seeing something, but I had another moment last night. It was actually early this morning. I was sleeping. I wasn't dreaming about anything strange or anything, I don't think. And I woke up to like this burning feeling on my hand. And I mean, maybe this is just coincidence, but I've never done this and I have no idea why I was doing it. But I was clenching my fist, like clenching it and driving my nails into my hand. And I opened my hand and like the nail prints, I thought I had pierced the skin, they were so deep. So I had been squeezing for a very long time and they were like purple, like it was like purple on my hand. Like you can't even see them anymore. My skin's like just adapted back, but at that point I couldn't even see inside the hole that I had left. Like I thought I had literally gone through the skin and it was burning like crazy. So I don't know if that has anything to do with what I saw last night down beside the bed or what I've seen on the other nights. But that's really what's happened recently. So I will keep you guys updated if anything else happens, which it will. It happens for a long time, and this is actually the most frequent it's been. It's been like every single night something's happened, so I'm expecting something else to happen tonight. Not to mention also this morning, my son woke up saying that there was a ghost in his room. I sort of assumed that it was just, yeah, just because he's been scared for the last few nights. But yeah, last night also, I forgot to mention this, that he also did mention there was a ghost in his room, but it wasn't anything big. Like, I had just put him down to bed, and I figured it was from the previous night waking up from a ghost, but it could have possibly been him seeing what I saw. Maybe that thing originally was inside of his room, and then it followed me out. So, yep, that's the catch-up. I'm really hoping that I can actually pull the camera out at one of these points and possibly get something on camera, but, you know, when you have kids, you don't really want to be running around the house with a camera. Like, I don't want to wake them up, because that's, like, my sleep time lost. So, if I can get anything on camera, I will definitely try and do that. Maybe I'll even film overnight if I can figure out how to, like, make the camera last all night, but yeah, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, give it a like and subscribe, and leave a comment and let me know actually what you guys have experienced. That would be really cool to hear your ghost stories. Alright, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!
I'm a bad guy. Duh.